Welcome back to the Sporty Dietitian Podcast, a show that helps you simplify your nutrition and amplify your activity. I'm your host, Sarah, a board-certified sports dietitian, personal trainer, and expert in sports nutrition. And today we're going to talk about 5 things that I want to see you do in your performance nutrition or other lifestyle-related factors in the year 2023. Let's get into it. Number 1 is I want you to eat breakfast every day. You heard it here. Eat breakfast every day. When we talk about meal timing for athletes and active people and trying to get in all of the calories that you need, all of the nutrients that you need, all of the macros that you need, it can be really hard to do that if you skip any meal. And one of the meals that's particularly skipped the most is breakfast. I'm also a firm believer that breakfast is the most important meal of the day. And I think that's just simply because it sets the tone for your habits the rest of the day. If you start your day off with a yummy, delicious, nutritious, balanced meal, then I think that you're setting yourself up for success more than if you were to skip it. The other thing that we see is this sort of underconsumption in the morning and in the beginning of the day, into the midday, into the early afternoon, and overconsumption at the end of the day. So we would call that kind of like a binging cycle. So low to no calories in the morning time, small calories in the middle of the day, and then lots of calories at the end of the day. So really, whenever we are skipping breakfast, I think you're setting yourself up to promote an environment that invites binging in the evening time. And that's something that definitely is part of an unsuccessful nutrition routine. We don't want to see that, obviously, especially if you are exercising in the morning or midday or even in the evening. If you're starting out underfueled, you are not going to perform well in your activity or in your practice or in your competition. And that's something that we need to fix to optimize your performance diet. When we look at what the research is showing, there's lots and lots of different things depending on the population that's being studied, whether it's sedentary people, athletes, people losing weight, people trying to put on muscle. And so I kind of picked a few that I wanted to share with you just to show that, hey, something as simple as eating breakfast can truly set you up for success throughout the rest of the day. There was a 2015 study that showed that a breakfast of even around just 120 calories before activity or exercise improved things that you wouldn't think, mood and appetite control after exercise. Think about that. If we are not eating and we have maybe a low blood sugar or maybe even a normal blood sugar and then we exercise, which we know promotes glucose uptake into your cell, which can decrease your overall glucose. Unless you're performing very, very high activity, then we can see hyperglycemia, but we won't get into that right now. So if we see depletion of blood sugar, we know that low blood sugar can lead to irritability, change in mood, almost erratic behavior, ravenous behavior in your eating. And so even just having something small kind of to top off your glycogen stores in your liver can make our mood a little bit better after exercise, on top of having some endorphins produced as we're exercising. And that's something that we want to see. We want to see happiness around activity and around exercise. That way we do it again, right? And then the other thing that it said was that it promoted appetite control post-exercise. And again, I'm sure that's because we're loading our muscles, loading our bloodstream with energy. And so we're not super, super hungry right after we exercise. A 2019 study showed that skipping breakfast led to an average of around 400 calories of a negative energy balance. So let's break that down really quickly. Energy balance is essentially eating equal calories to how many calories you are expending in a day. That includes the activity that you are doing through physical activity or your practices, and then that also includes what we call NEAT, non-exercise activity thermogenesis. That just happens from movement, fidgeting, walking from class to class, walking from meeting to meeting, whatever it may be. When we are in a negative energy balance, short term, we can see weight loss, which that may be a goal of yours to be in a caloric deficit. However, if someone comes into my office with negative energy balance and is exhibiting symptoms of low energy balance, which is chronic negative energy balance over time that starts to actually affect your physiology, your metabolism, your bone health, your menstrual cycle, your digestion, your mood, then that's something that we need to correct. So, and oftentimes, these people come in and they're telling me, I don't eat breakfast, which makes perfect sense. Let's add in a breakfast. Let's start small and build from there. So even though that negative energy balance may seem enticing if weight loss is your goal, that's not the best way to achieve it. And research shows that skipping breakfast not usually, is a way that can induce negative energy balance. A 2018 study found that skipping breakfast is a risk factor for lower muscle mass in healthy young subjects. So in this research article, they looked at the calories that they were eating, they looked at the time of day that they were eating, they looked at the meals that they were skipping, and their overall muscle mass over time, and they found that those who skipped breakfast did have lower muscle mass than those who didn't when calories were equated. One of the reasons for that could be protein optimization. We know we need to replenish protein along with other things around exercise, and if you're exercising in the morning and not replenishing through a balanced breakfast, then we can definitely see your muscle mass affected negatively. The other thing too is just not being able to meet your calories. If you are looking to build mass, put on muscle, then you need to be eating enough calories. And again, as we know from the other studies and what I've said, skipping breakfast can put us in an energy balance, which can definitely affect the amount of muscle that we're able to put on. We also know that many studies support skipping breakfast with an increased risk for obesity and metabolic syndrome. That is sort of a blanket statement for things like high triglycerides, high cholesterol, high blood pressure, having an increased waist circumference, so that intra-abdominal fat storage, which can be a risk factor for chronic disease. And so we don't want to see those things, right? Especially if maybe you're used to skipping breakfast as a young person, you can get away with it, and you are getting older and aging, and now we care about maybe the prevalence of those chronic diseases and things like that. Maybe you have a family history of aspects of metabolic syndrome. And so potentially adding in a healthy, well-balanced breakfast and nourishing breakfast to set your day off right can help that. And then lastly, one study found that recommending higher calories at breakfast and lower calories during dinner actually led to more weight loss when calories were equated. We're more active throughout the day, and we're more sedentary in the evening. Unless you're someone who has lots of practices or competitions in the evening, right? Then that doesn't necessarily make sense. But think about, maybe if you're a weekend warrior or someone who exercises recreationally and just enjoys being active, and you're working from 8 to 5, you're at a desk job, you're sitting a lot, and you choose to exercise towards the beginning of the day or towards after work, then we have some time to fuel those activities or replenish those activities if you work out in the morning time. And so, and then in the evening time, we could be even more sedentary, sit down on the couch because we're so tired, you don't move, but you are hungry because you underfueled, because you skip breakfast or whatever it is, and then you just sort of binge on whatever's available. Maybe you even mindlessly do it. It's just part of a routine that you have. So oftentimes we are moving a little bit more in the beginning of the day, midday, before we get into the evening time when we're home from work or home from school. And then we see more sedentary habits. And so sort of increasing your calories throughout the day, allowing your body to actually utilize those calories for fuel and not just immediately store them because we're sitting down or whatever it may be, can be a good thing. The second thing I want you to do this year is quit restricting and start adding. I talked about this in a separate podcast. I probably have referenced it in just about all of my other podcasts. And that's because I'm a big believer that how you talk to yourself and the way that you view things can absolutely change how you approach situations, how you set goals for yourself. Time and time again, people tell me they want to cut out this and stop this and avoid this and eliminate that. And I just think that there are better ways to frame those goals. Even if you want to accomplish the same task, telling it to yourself differently can be such a powerful thing. What we are doing by changing the narrative is we are giving you the power rather than letting food have the power over you. For example, I want to never have Coke. I never want to have Coca-Cola. Soda has sugar and calories, and it's causing weight gain, whatever it may be. Instead of doing that, because let's be honest, when we tell ourselves we can't have something, that's all we think about. Let's create something a little bit more realistic, and this is going to be individualized to what you already do. So say you have a Coca-Cola 12-ounce can twice a day, Monday through Friday. It's something that you do when you're at work or you're at school. You grab a can of Coca-Cola and you drink it 2 times per day. Let's start with 1 time per day. Or let's do 2 times per day, 3 days a week, 1 time per day, 2 days a week. We do not have to go 0 to 100. In fact, research supports day in and day out choosing to be more realistic and having a more soft, less intense approach can actually increase the time that you're able to stick with that and truly create a lifestyle or a behavior change. It will allow you to do that for so much longer. And the goal is to be able to change that, sustainable behavior so that we no longer have those habits or those feelings or those outcomes that are associated with those less nourishing habits. Because we probably don't want to consume soda 24 ounces 5 days a week. But if I'm telling you never have soda, it's not going to work. It's just not. You listening to this, you probably can relate to that. It is the time of year to cut out things that you view as, unhealthy or bad, but we're going to change the narrative in 2023, and we are going to make more nourishing choices and add to what we are already doing, like adding fruits and vegetables, adding water, adding daily movement, adding flexibility, adding core training, whatever it may be, and not focus on the things that we want to restrict. More often than not, you're probably going to restrict in a sense or take out or limit or decrease once you add, because when you add those nourishing foods, when you add the movement, when you add whatever it may be, you don't have time, you don't have thought space to think about the things that maybe are less nourishing for our body, like being sedentary and high sugar intakes or whatever it is for you. The next thing that I want you to do in 2023 is to stop megadosing yourself with vitamins and minerals. We could talk about this every podcast for as long as time goes, and I probably will still have people challenging me on this, questioning me on this, not believing me, still continuing to take all of their supplements. And I'm just going to say it again. We're going to start 2023 fresh with a new mindset. We're going to try some new things. We're going to maybe listen to Sarah. I don't know. Do something crazy this year. The reason that I say that is because I have seen people, I'm not kidding, I've seen people come in and they've brought me their supplement list, and there have been 30 vitamins and minerals or herbal supplements, multivitamin, just comboed together, and they're in their 30s or in their early 40s. People, we do not need to be swallowing all of those pills at that age. We just don't need it. You can absolutely meet those things through your food, and I'm going to show you how really simple it can be if you do optimize your performance diet. And that's what, help having a registered dietitian and a sports dietitian, if you're an athlete or an active person, work with you to figure that out can actually really decrease your stress levels and your anxiety around your eating, and hopefully save you from having to buy and take all of those pills, because it's just nonsense anymore. You really do not need a multivitamin and a vitamin C supplement and a vitamin D supplement and an iron supplement and a zinc supplement and a B complex supplement all in one day. Most people don't take in too much in terms of having actual toxicity effects happen to you. That's not to say that it can't. I've seen people have those long lists of supplements, and they do eventually suffer from toxicity of a vitamin or a mineral or multiple because they're absolutely mega dosing themselves. But you're still putting yourself at a risk, right? You may not eventually get to the actual toxic effects, but you're still putting yourself at risk. And that's something that we don't need to do. It's unnecessary, it's expensive, and food tastes better. Let's get it from food, right? I just think that you are creating very, very expensive pee. Yes, you heard it. Taking all of those supplements is strictly just giving you some very fancy, expensive pee. Let's break down some of those vitamins and minerals that I talked about, and I'm going to tell you how simple it can be to get your daily needs from food. So let's take vitamin B12, for example. To meet your total needs in a day, you need to consume 2 cups of milk or 3 ounces of meat or seafood. That is 1 meal. If you're doing 2 cups of milk, potentially 2 meals. But seriously, you don't need your B12 complex. Come on. All right, let's look at vitamin C. This one kills me. It is so simple to meet your vitamin C needs in a day. All right, are you ready for it? Honestly, give me a drum roll on this one. To meet your vitamin C needs, you need 1 bell pepper. 1. That's it. Zinc, to meet your RDA for zinc, females need a little bit less than males do. 6 ounces of beef for females, 9 ounces of beef for males. To optimize protein utilization, we may want to split that into 2 meals for the 9 ounces, but 6 ounces can be done in a meal easily. That's it to meet your zinc. Iron, males need a little bit less than females do because we are blessed with the gift of menstruation. So we need a little bit more iron as we lose that in the blood that we let out each month. 1 cup of canned white beans for males. 1 meal. Use 1 cup of canned white beans. You've met your iron needs for the day. Or for females, we could do the 1 cup of white beans that are canned. We can add a cup of spinach and we can add 1 cup of stewed tomatoes. So that would be like a bean chili. And boom, you've met your iron needs for the day. And then lastly, vitamin D. Now, I do want to put this out there. If you have a deficiency in vitamin D, you will need supplementation to fix that. It's near impossible. I shouldn't say impossible. It's very difficult to meet your vitamin D needs through food alone if you are correcting a deficiency. However, if you have healthy vitamin D levels, even if you're prone to vitamin D deficiency or concerned about it, but you have normal vitamin D levels, you can still get what you need from food. That would be something as simple as 3 ounces of trout or salmon or 1 cup of mushrooms. That's it, you guys. I do not feel like that is that difficult. If it is that difficult for you, we probably need to work on some habit changes and some behavior change to include more nourishing foods throughout the day. And that's something I work with people on all the time. If you have a good vegetable intake most of the time, if you eat your fruits, if you eat all of the food groups, we do not need to supplement. If you are concerned about where your levels stand or if your supplements are necessary, go talk to a dietitian. There will even be some dietitians and some other health professionals that just push supplementation before they push food. And I would encourage you to get a second opinion if you feel like you've been pushed supplements or sold supplements. I'm someone who, again, takes a food first approach. It is a cheaper way to do it. It is a more fun and tasty way to do it. So if that is something that you're concerned about, find the right person that can help you meet your needs through food. The next thing that I want you to do in 2023 is to stop weighing yourself every day. You are more than the number on the scale. I'll say it again. You are more than the number on the scale. There is no reason for you to step on that scale every day. It does absolutely nothing but reinforce restriction or binging if you've made successes, if you've lost weight. A lot of times that puts people in a mindset of, oh, I can eat whatever I want today. And then, hey, you step on the scale tomorrow and you've gained weight. Duh, because you probably had a little bit more food with a little bit more water content. Carbs are water storing and can be bloating at times. Fiber is bloating. That can all contribute to weight changes to put you in a restrictive mindset. And hey, we need to stop doing that to ourselves. We don't have to sit here and talk about how much we love our body. We don't have to have that, positive body image all of the time, but let's at least try and get to a body neutral mindset. Our body is here to get us from point A to point B, to wear awesome, fashionable clothes, to allow us to engage in movement of any way, shape, or form, depending on what you can do and what you are required to do for your sport. We don't need to sit here and say, I love my arms, I love my legs. If you want to, you can, if that truly helps you get into a good mindset for the day. But we don't even have to do that. We just need to forget about our weight, forget about what our body looks like, and just think about other things such as how much energy do we have? I had XYZ today and I felt really nourished and really energized. What are some things I can take from today and carry into tomorrow to help me be successful and feel great? How am I feeling physically? Did I feel strong in my workout? If so, what did I have leading up to my workout? Did I meet my fluid needs? Did I have enough carbohydrates throughout the day? Did I balance my meals with carbs, protein, fruits, and veggies? What was it that made me feel so strong in my workout? And how can I replicate that tomorrow and the next day to help me perform well and be a good athlete and be truly excited to go to the gym or to my practice? Are my clothes fitting differently? If body composition changes are a goal, think about how your clothes are changing. Is that going to happen the next day or the next week or the next couple of weeks? Probably not. So you have to give yourself a time frame to, allow that to happen. But your clothes will eventually start fitting differently if you are moving in the right direction, achieving the SMART goals that you have for yourself. And that can be a great non-weight-based way to measure your progress if your clothes are fitting differently. And then lastly, am I sleeping better? Oftentimes we're nourished throughout the day and we allow time from the last meal that we've eaten to sleep to give our body time to digest and rest and relax and get ready for our melatonin to be produced and our circadian rhythm of the light going down and sleep getting ready to happen. Are we setting ourselves up for success to be able to get adequate sleep and good quality sleep so that we can be refreshed and have a mindset that's ready to make decisions that are nourishing for our body the next day? Okay, the last thing that I want you to do for 2023 is to think about your plate and what it looks like on days that you're really active and days that you're not as active, rather than thinking about calories and all of these portion sizes and macronutrients and all of those things. We are going to call this our performance plate, and we want to think about how we're going to build this performance plate to fuel our body based on the amount of activity that we're doing in a day. When we are exercising really hard and we've got a hard training day, we're in season, we want to make sure that we're meeting our calories and our carbohydrates to sustain the level of energy that we are expending in a day. We also want to make sure that we're getting in enough fluid and electrolytes if that is necessary based on your activity or the environment that you are training in. And we also want to make sure that we're meeting our protein needs and getting in some antioxidant-rich foods like fruits and vegetables. We need those for adequate recovery from all of the oxidation that happens during exercise, which is a good thing. It's part of promoting training adaptations, but having those antioxidant-rich foods can help counteract that and make sure that our body recovers adequately. And then also make sure that we're, maintaining our immune function. We're not putting ourselves at risk to not recover well and get sick easier and, have injuries and all of those things. For our plate, when we think about it on those days, we are trying to aim for, and hang on, plates are crazy anymore. There are so many different sizes. We're talking about a standard 9-inch dinner plate. We are trying to achieve half of our plate whole grains or other energy enhancing foods like starches and carbohydrates. we are aiming for a quarter of our plate to be lean protein, and we're aiming for a quarter of our plate to be fruits and vegetables. Let's kind of talk about what that could look like. So if you're having a breakfast to meet those portion sizes, we're talking about 2 or 3 whole grain pancakes paired with a yogurt. Maybe we have a turkey and vegetable omelet to get some color and antioxidants in there. We throw some blueberries on top of that yogurt. We throw some walnuts on top of that yogurt, and we add some syrup on our pancakes and hydrate with water. If we're mirroring this for our lunch, maybe we do a wrap with a whole wheat tortilla and pretzels on the side for our energy enhancing foods. We throw in some grilled chicken strips for our lean protein. We have spinach leaves and tomatoes in our tortilla to give us our colors and our antioxidants. And then we have a fruit salad on the side. Then for flavor and healthy fats, along with a little bit more protein, we throw in some avocado and hummus in the tortilla as either a mash or a spread. And then we fuel with water, or this would be a good time to throw in an electrolyte sports drink if you have had practice or activity and you need to hydrate a little bit more efficiently. And then for dinner, this would look like having whole grain pasta and a dinner roll on the side, meatballs made with a lean ground beef or a ground turkey, tomato sauce for your pasta, steamed broccoli and a vegetable salad on the side of whatever you want in it. And then you can top that with an oil-based salad dressing for some healthy fats, and then hydrate with water, or this would be a good time to throw in some milk to help you meet your calorie, carb, protein, and electrolyte needs. All right, so that was our harder training day. We are sweating a lot. We exercised for over an hour, and maybe it was a little bit under an hour and it was really hot and really humid, or you were at altitude. Those are the portion sizes and the plate distributions that we want to aim for on those days. On lighter training days, maybe in our off season, we're going to have a little bit different of portion sizes. Calorie and carbohydrate levels are going to be smaller than on our hard training days because of that decrease in your training. Or if you have weight loss goals, proper fluid and electrolyte intake are still needed. We still need that to maintain our hydration levels. And we still need adequate protein and those antioxidant-rich foods to sustain health, to sustain body composition, and to sustain recovery. So our portions are going to change. Now we're going to do half of our plate fruits and vegetables. A quarter of our plate is still lean proteins. And now we have a quarter of our plate whole grains or energy enhancing foods. So let's talk about what that could look like in some examples for each meal. For breakfast, maybe we do 1 to 2 slices of whole wheat bread, still adding a yogurt. We still do a turkey and vegetable omelet. We add blueberries and walnuts on our yogurt, and we hydrate with water. For lunch, we can do whole grain crackers with some grilled chicken strips on top of a vegetable salad with, let's say, spinach and romaine and tomatoes, cucumbers, mushrooms to meet our vitamin D levels like we talked about earlier, and some olives for some healthy fats. Then we throw in avocado on our salad and our oil-based salad dressing for more healthy fats, and we hydrate with water. And then for dinner, this could be a baked potato for our starch, baked salmon for our protein, steamed broccoli and a side vegetable salad, an oil-based salad dressing on top of your salad. And then let's try and limit those toppings for our potato. So maybe we just pick the bacon bits or the sour cream or the cheese or the butter instead of doing all of them combined. And be conscious and intentional about our portion sizes on top. And then again, water or a low-fat milk, depending on your needs. I hope those 5 ideas to frame your performance-related nutrition habits for 2023 were helpful, and that they gave you some ideas to think about to, again, help you maintain a healthy relationship with food and optimize your performance for your sport or your activity, whatever it may be. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of the Sporty Dietitian Podcast, and I will see you next time.